In 2022, the celebration was characterized by lots of happenings. Two celebrations here at the Asumdwe Park. One from the governing New Patriotic Party and a second one from the National Democratic Congress. Let's take a look at how the 10th anniversary was.
To me, my son is a blessing. This man here, Professor Evans Atta Mills, is a blessing to Ghana. What is wonder means that I was looking for this cloth and I saw in my wardrobe, I saw this thing. How many years?
10 years. You've been keeping this bottled water since 2012.
10 good years.
That bust, honestly, I don't know who it depicts. It doesn't look like Professor Mills. It doesn't have his name. His family is not recognized. There's nothing about that bust that shows that it is intended to immortalize.
Let's be happy for what we have been able to do. The President of the Republic was here, the Vice President was here. Ghanaians have gathered here. Let's just move on.
But the opposition was not here. 2023 is different with just one celebration. I can also confidently confirm that there was no presence of any New Patriotic Party member here present. Dignitaries here in present, like former President John Dramani Mahama and the leadership of the National Democratic Congress, took turns to eulogize the former president.
There's something of an irony that we mark this anniversary of such a great man at a time of deep socio-economic distress for our country, Ghana. In the hands of the current MPP government, we find ourselves in the throes of economic crisis, severe hardship, suffering, maladministration, corruption, nepotism, insensitivity, and arrogance. Here lies a man who governed this country with humility and sensitivity and superintended our economy with great skill. He made the right calls on the economy, and it was no surprise that under his stewardship, Ghana famously recorded its highest ever GDP growth rate of 14.4%, with a larger contribution of this growth coming from the real sector rather than oil. He still holds the record for the longest ever sustained period of single-digit inflation.
All existing protocols that have been followed. The J.E.A. Mills Memorial Heritage on this 11th anniversary of the passing of His Excellency President John Evans Atta Mills wish to reiterate our commitment to continuing to espouse the values and principles for which he stood. On this day, patriotism, selfless leadership, servant leadership, and love for one another as brothers and sisters are attributes which are at the forefront of one's mind. Indeed, the reverence and adoration your name elicits when mentioned is a testament of the true legacy you have left behind. 11 years on, and you are held in awe and amazement, especially when realizations dawn on us regarding the fact that you were president for only 3.5 years, less than a full term. Oh, President Mills, how you are missed. The Ghana you left behind is but a pale shadow of itself. But there is hope on the horizon. For you taught us to have faith in God. Rest well, our husband, father, leader, mentor, teacher, and friend. We will always love you and what you represent. Rest in perfect peace. Amen. It befalls upon me to, in my humble position as chair of the J.E.A. Mills Memorial Heritage, to ask the former president of Ghana, the incoming president of Ghana, to address us on this auspicious day. I give to you His Excellency President John Evans Atta Mills. President. All joys are joys. I'll take it like that. I give to you President John Dramani Mahama.
This party absolutely is privileged to have had, not just as a vice president, but also as a flag bearer and also president, a man that I can only describe as a great servant leader of our nation. If there is anything that stands tall about him, is the fact that he rose to the highest, but at no point ever forgot his groundedness, his simplicity, his humility. I remember even when he was contesting the first time to be president, he kept saying, "I am not desperate to be president." Now those words for politicians sounded a little out of place. But for me, I think what he sought to do was to bring into our nation, into the body politic, the fact that we do not need to be desperate to become what we are destined to be. And I think he showed that throughout the time in office as well. He understood that power comes from above. And the religious man that he was, I think he always understood that the kingdom, the power, and the glory comes from only one. And he was simply a servant that was supposed to do the best he can.
From someone who has worked closely with a former president, are we leaving his legacy?
And that is a question we should all ask ourselves individually. But evidently, from what is happening in the country today, you see that the virtues and principles he espoused and lived by, we have gone very, very far and deviated from them. And that is why in moments like this, as we remember and celebrate him, we need to draw attention to the public and to those in authority that this man died 11 years ago. But today, because of the authenticity of his beliefs and what he lived, he didn't just espouse them, but he lived them in practicality. Today, everybody is talking about him. Those in power today should ask themselves, when they leave this earth, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years afterwards, how are they going to be remembered? Are they going to be remembered the same way the great professor is being remembered for his virtues, for his principles, for his practices, or they are going to be remembered as people who looted this country? And the sad thing is that whatever you acquire on this earth, when you go, you are not going to carry anything away. It is the good deeds that you did that you'll be remembered by. So that should be a subject for sober reflection for all of us in the political arena, and especially for those who are in power today.
I come here to say that on a day that we remember Professor Mills's passing, it's important to do an audit of the kind of leadership we have in this country. Whether that leadership is living humbly for other citizens to humbly live. Whether they are living simply for other citizens to simply live. Whether they are living modestly for others to modestly live. Or whether they are in affluence, they are keeping money on top of their beds, millions of dollars on top of their beds. So when you see what Professor Mills did and you juxtapose that with what is happening today, then you realize that we have flopped and we have taken giant steps down the steep. It's important to rekindle the kind of leadership that Professor Mills brought, that your greatness is not in how much wealth you have amassed, but it is in the kind of leadership you have left, the legacy you have left, and that's why we continue to remember Professor Mills, not as an NDC member, but as a true statesman that all of us need to emulate his style of leadership.
Are these values we plan carrying forward as a nation? My name is Shadrach Odame Ejari from here at the Sumdre Park, Accra for Metro News.